Hello everyone, Sari here. I am working with my Scrapping for Less card kit for October 2020, and I decided to kind of break these down into individual videos just so that I can pump them out a little bit quicker and they're smaller so you can just kind of watch them without watching a whole big long video. Um, so this is card number one from collection one of the card kit, and I'm using that big stamp with a flower on it, and it has the sentiment: "Kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body." So that was a really beautiful stamp, and I really liked the sentiment and all together that I kind of just wanted to make this the center focal point of a very simplistic card. So I'm stamping that with some VersaFine ink because, as you know, I love to just heat emboss everything because I just love the shine effect to it, and I love how I don't smudge the inks. Um, you don't need to do this. Like I said, you can always use faster drying inks. Memento ink works. That's good for alcohol markers. But I just like doing this. It's just a fail-safe it's proof. It's a fail-safe. Is that the right expression? Um, for me, just never to make a smudging mistake. Um, I decided that I would bring out some colored pencils. These are watercolor pencils, sorry. And they were from a Simon Says card kit that we got earlier this year. So I decided to just bring these out and play with them. I love watercoloring. I haven't mastered it myself, um, but I love what people can do. And I don't think water pencils can do the amazing things that I would like to do. At least I haven't figured it out. A lot of people I've watched will have that palette of watercolors, um, and that seems to work much better. Um, but I like to use what I have on hand, and so why not use them? It will only increase my skills on how to use watercolor pencils. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to color this flower using different shades of yellow and orange, and just wet it up just to kind of cover everything. I wouldn't say this is following any specific watercoloring technique. It's just pretty much laying some pigment down on some paper and adding water. Um, yeah, I like the effect. Like I said, I love watercolors, and you can kind of see it up close. That watery transition between the different shades. It's much harder to see it from this far away watching the video. Um, so different shades of yellow in the center, orange on the outside, and I'm just following when I get to the darker shades, I'm just following the black lines that are in the image itself. That's the guide that I'm using. And just and I'm actually not using watercolor pencil or watercolor paper. Um, so I have to be very careful not to use excess water, and that's also maybe why I'm not getting the best watercolor effect. I am just adding a little bit of water to the tip of that orange pencil because I want to bring in some orange into the yellow area, just a little, and I spread that throughout. So starting at the base and just flicking it out towards the outwards. For the center of this flower, um, I'm just using a light brown. Um, I think that's like a it looks gray, but it's actually a really dark brown. And I was just dotting around the area because I noticed that there was a little bit of dots in the design, so I just kind of dotted it around with that dark color, dark brown. And then I took a lighter shade of brown. So there's three browns in total that goes through there. For the orange, I did grab a pink color just to add a little bit of extra color. I don't have an extra red actually I don't have any red. That's the funny thing. I have oranges, so I just took a bit of yellow or a bit of a pink one, and I just added a little bit of coloring to the orange section. You can't really see it, so it's not that big of a difference. Here's where I try to get creative. I love the idea of adding water, and then you kind of like just touch your pigment into the water paper, and so I'm going to coat the whole thing with water. I don't think I added enough water because it's not water paper. It probably soaked it up as well. But what I was hoping for was to let the pigment touch the water and spread, but it didn't happen. So I'm just going to spread my color around because I've already started to color it. But I kind of want it very soft, so I'm going to take a piece of paper towel and kind of dab that down. I just want different colors that are similar to the flower, and I just want it spread across the card. It looks really, really bright. It really does. It looks bright in the picture, but I'm looking at it beside me, and it's pretty muted. It's not that strong of a yellow. I did color these two honey pieces. I thought they were really adorable, um, but I actually didn't end up using them in the final card. They just didn't seem to fit. So I'm just going to fast forward this part and get on to the next piece. Next, I'm just going to fussy cut the flower out, and I'm just going to leave a white border around. It's actually not that difficult, sorry. You just take your time and just move the paper and let the scissors just cut. And it's just a little back and forth. It's not too bad. And then when I get to the sentiment, I just kind of do a nice square-ish, rounded square-ish shape, if that makes any sense. There you go. It's very simple. And then I throw the rest away. I did cut that out, but I'll use it for a different card. I will say that simple cards are very difficult. So I'm going to try to do it. I'm not overly happy with the end result, but it's not bad. It's just a style that is very hard for me to do. But I'm going to take some antique linen distress ink, which I believe is a little dry, unless this is the color it's supposed to look like. But I'm being very careful not to get, because it's not an oxide, it is an ink. I'm just trying to be very careful to get a nice even blend, but it's very, 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 very light. And potentially antique linen is this way, or I bought a really dry one because it was a used one that I bought. So I just highlighted a center piece, or center of the card, and that's where, as you can see, the flower is going to sit. I'm taking some antique linen. This is something that does add a little bit of difference between the paper, and it's pretty subtle. But you'll notice it up close that it does separate from the background. And that's what I'm going to use as my sentiment and pretty much my focal point. I really liked this yellow paper that was in the collection, and so I decided to add some embellishments to my card. And I'm going to use a lawn fawn circle and cut a bunch of them out of that paper there. So it creates a nice little stitch. And I cut about 5 of them, I believe, and I'm just going to use them as if they were enamel dots. And this actually was inspired by a comment that I had about if you don't have any enamel dots, you can try this. I believe they said to use a hole punch or something, so you can get little circles, but I wanted big circles. So I went and did this. I'm now using the Distress Vintage Photo on the outline of those little circles, and then I'm just going to place them around on the card to see where I like them. Once that is done, I will glue these down just with some regular glue. I do like my art glitter glue. It works really well. You just have to make sure you don't have a clog in your glue. It happens every single time. I always forget to check before I start recording. And I'm just going to place those down. That one fell in not the right place, but I'm just going to leave it. That's where it wants to go. I'll leave it there. I am going to prop up this center focal image sentiment, whatever you want to call it. I am going to prop that up with some foam tape. This is some foam that I have had in my stash for the longest time, and I'm just going to use that up. And just take off the release paper, and I'm going to put that right over the center where I had colored it with the antique linen distressed ink. I'm just going to prop it up there and just make sure it's nice and straight. Okay, in the card kit, I believe it was the banana split part edition, you get the sequins. So I'm taking out some of the orange and the brown. The brown does look almost peachy in this light, but it is brown. It's just the light shining on it. It creates that shininess, but it's orange and brown. And I'm just going to place those just around the image and then glue those down with some Simon Says ink, or sorry, Simon Says glue. This glue is really nice for embellishments. It's much thicker, and it just works really well. I highly recommend this for little small pieces. Okay, so then I got myself some new glossy accents. The other one got really clogged, dried up, and everything. So I bought a new one, and I finally received it. And I'm just going to play with it. I'm going to fill up all these circles with glossy accents. I'm going to try to create a very even coating. You can kind of see that it's not on the top there. It has a little bit of, it's not enough. But I will go around and fill these up and make sure that it has a nice even coat. I will say it's a little hard, and it's because of my setup, the light. It blinds me when I'm doing these. So even though it looks like it's uneven there, I did fix it off camera. So that's it. That's my card. Nice and fall inspired autumn. Very simple card. No layers, or not too many layers. Just working with that center piece, that sentiment as the main focal, so nothing takes away from it too much. I hope you enjoyed this card. I hope it did create some inspiration on what you can do with this kit. So until the next time, take care of yourselves and have a great day. Bye.